So we're doing lesson 7 and it's about graphing a line. So when you read the problem, you see that it says, it's talking about a linear equation. That means it's a line. It's straight. It has arrowheads on either side. You're going to graph it, and here's your equation. So the book recommends that you choose the numbers 1 and 2 and put them into the equation. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use 0, 1, and 2. Okay? So the first thing I'm going to do is remember that 2 points determine a line, but the third one is there as a check to make sure I did it right. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put 0 into the equation. So where the x is, see where the x is, I put in a 0. So 3 times 0 is 0. And then I take away 4. So I get -4. And that's what I did right there. I did the math. Then I wrote the point as a coordinate. Remember, a coordinate has parentheses and an x and then a y. The x was 0 and the y was -4. That's what I solved for. Then I went over here and I plotted 0, no movement on the x-axis, but down 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, -4. Put a dot there. Now, I randomly chose 1 because I thought it was a small number and it was going to be easy. So what I do is I go to that equation, and where it was a 0 before, this time I put in a 1. So now I have 3 times 1, which is 3, minus 4. Now, when I take 3 minus 4, I can use my calculator, take my time. I'm going to get -1. So that means if I put in a 1 for my x, I got a -1 for my y. So as a point, that would look like 1, -1. And then I'm going to go over here to my grid. I'm going to go over 1 to the right because it's positive, and down 1 because it's negative. Because remember, we do x and then y. So that's my second point. Now my last point, better line up with these two and make it perfect. So I decided to use the number 2. So instead, this time, I'm going to place the 2 in. So the 2 goes right here in place of the x. So I'm multiplying 3 times 2, which is 6, and I'm taking away 4. 6 minus 4 is 2, so that goes here, and that is 2, 2. So I will go over and I will count 1, 2, and I go up to 1, 2. Now, when I take a straight edge and I connect these dots, you can see that they connect perfectly well. So I know I didn't make any mistakes. So that is how you plot a line. Now, the next kind of problem they have in this section is they give you a point in example 2, and they ask you if it's on the line. So that feels like we are going backwards. That feels like I've been given 5, -6 as my point, and I wonder, is it y equals -5x plus 18? Is it on that line? So that means I replace the x with 5 and the y with -6. So that gives me -6 equals negative 5 times 5 plus 18. Now I am wondering if this is true. Negative 25 plus 18, does that equal negative 6?